Hi, I am Clésia Mendes and welcome to Womanhood from the Inside Out. In this interview series, we'll be discovering and uncovering the nature of womanhood from the inside out. Why is it important? When does it show? How can we identify it? And what are the implications of womanhood from the inside out? And today, I've got two special guests. My dear friend Wendi Saggese and her son Thomas Saggese. Wendi has been studying human development for over 37 years. Wendi is a mentor, coach, and loving mother. And in addition, Wendi has taught and written the curriculum for several seminars and worked with popular names such as Tony Robbins and many, many others from the personal development world. Wendi is also the founder and creator of Wake Up Your Wisdom Coaching and Consulting. Welcome, Wendi and Thomas.
Hi. Hello.
Hello. So, for the people who have been following the Womanhood from the Inside Out series, they'll be aware that we had Wendi in the show before, but you had such wonderful stories to share about your understanding of the principles and how your family dynamics changed that you suggested, Wendi, how about bringing Thomas on the show? So I felt it was a fabulous idea. So can I just ask what has been the feedback from the show and what have you seen afresh since you've done the last show?
Great question. I think that every day I see more freedom in that our circumstances don't have to change in order for us to feel good. And I find there to be a lot of freedom in that. Like, I even noticed recently with Thomas, just to bring him into the picture, is that after a game, I think he has more of a baseball game. He's a big baseball player. I think he has more of an understanding that it's human to play good and play bad. Mm. Oh, and the other thing I've been seeing also in my business, I had a day or two where I attached my worthiness to how well I was doing in my business. So I had a day of low thinking with that, and then I settled down and I realized that I'm worthy without, it doesn't matter how I do in the world. Mm. And that transferred to Thomas. We were able to have discussions about how you're still a good baseball player even if you have a day where you don't play well. Mm. So that's what I've been seeing.
Okay, that's a really good point. And Thomas, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. What have you seen for yourself? Naturally, you knew your mom before she came across this understanding or the principles, and I guess you've seen some changes. What have you seen?
My mom used to get very overwhelmed with principles, very stressed out, and very and now it's a lot better. Now she doesn't go into a spiral as much. She doesn't think about it that much, and she used to just go on and on and on and think about it, and she would not sleep over things. And that's much different in that when something would have stressed her out a ton, now she doesn't let it stress her out as much.
Oh, that's beautiful. And what do you think that has changed, in your opinion? How do you see it, or what do you see?
I think that she's much more reasonable now. And she's much more understanding.
Hey, I have an idea, if that's okay.
Of course, yes.
I think I was so awesome the other day with Thomas. Mm. So we had to go almost an hour away to a baseball practice. Mm. And he forgot his cleats.
I'm from the outside the game. So what are cleats for the people who don't know?
Oh, cleats are, you tell them. So
They're basically shoes
they're
Right.
shoes.
that just stick in they just have like little metal spikes on the bottom of them.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
So we're driving and we're in traffic about an hour away, and he forgot his cleats, so that means he can't go to the practice. Then I said, well, maybe you could wear my sneakers. And then he didn't look too happy about that.
Mm.
And I normally, you could probably explain, I didn't say anything, wasn't I good? I normally would just like really have a lot to say about that. And I had the feelings to say something, because it was a pain to go an hour and then go an hour back.
Mm.
And he forgot his cleats, and I was able to just stay very quiet about it, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I
I
guess.
didn't say anything.
Yeah, you did.
No, I just said you forgot your cleats. Call the coach. You just texted the coach, remember?
Yeah.
You know what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So that's the way. That is the before and after sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And the other thing is some events when Thomas is a teenager, so teenagers are known for giving you, we call it in America, a lot of lip. That means when they talk back to you and everything.
Right.
Well, now I'm understanding a lot more when he does that. And he starts talking a lot and maybe wanting to do something different than we're about to do. Like the other day with the going down to that practice. It wasn't the other day, it was a while ago when we went to the baseball practice, and how you had all that to say to me, and I just didn't buy it. Maybe you could talk about that story and how you changed anyway.
Okay. So I was trying out a new practice and I was very mad, and so I argued with my mom and got really mad at her, but she didn't buy into it, and she was very good, and then she just kept on saying, no, I'm not going to buy into this, and made me go to the practice, and it turned out to be not that bad. So.
Mm. Mm. And can I just ask, what did you feel once you were saying, I'm not buying into this? Were you like really, what is the word, upset? You were trying all your tricks to get her returned back home, but wasn't working. Like, what did you do with that?
I was kind of mad that it wasn't working because it usually works.
Right.
And my mom just kept on saying no, and it just made it worse for me. So, yeah, and then at a certain point, I just gave up because it wasn't gonna work.
He told me afterwards, he might not admit it, but you told me afterwards that you tried everything to get me to turn around. But what was so important to me about that also is that we didn't turn around. He went to the practice. Mm-hmm. Nothing different changed, but his whole mood changed regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was nice to see for myself, that you don't always have, it's not really the circumstance that's making your kid upset. It's their thinking right there in the moment. So in that particular day, I was very clear that he's just spinning off in a tangent. So I just didn't buy into it that particular day. And I just said, I didn't know if I was right or wrong, but I just knew we're going, and I'm not going to listen to this, because it doesn't really help to teach your kid that their thinking is correct. And then what I found is he came off that practice and his whole mood changed. Mm. And he actually even apologized, which was lovely. I didn't expect that, but his whole mood changed, and I don't know, did you kind of see how that was just your thinking, or no? Yeah. Am I just reading into that?
No.
You did see that.
Hmm. And something else that just occurred to me, Wendy, is when you were telling us the story about choosing a high school.
Oh, that's all Thomas. That's a great story for him to
Oh,
tell.
if you could just give us a little bit of a background in how did you choose the high school? What was going on for you? Yes, that could be great.
Okay, well, so I'm in 8th grade, and there are 2 high schools, and one of them is it's about not even a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
It's right down the block, and the other one is pretty far away. And the one that's right down the block is called Carlsbad High.
Mm-hmm.
As far away as Sage Creek, and Sage Creek is like kind of a smart school, and a couple of my friends were going there, and a couple of my friends were going to Carlsbad.
Mm-hmm.
I was just completely in the middle and of which school I wanted to go to.
Mm.
And I didn't really stress out at all, and neither did my mom, which was different for us because my mom had talked to my friend's mom, who didn't know either. And the kid was, or not the kid, the mom was just completely stressing out. And that reminded my mom of how she used to stress out, and if she didn't have the principal, she would be completely overwhelmed. And but now it's just kind of like not a big deal at all. And so I don't know why, but I ended up choosing Carlsbad.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I wasn't stressed out at all, and I just made the decision. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I just chose Carlsbad over the other school.
Yes. And
I loved when his dad said to him, remember when Dad said to you, I bet that's a relief. And you said something like, no, it's not. I wasn't stressed.
yeah, and that is beautiful. Because you mentioned several times that your mom used to be overwhelmed and she's no longer overwhelmed or stressing out. And I guess that we know where stress is coming from. It's from your own thinking, but there is less on your mind because your mom is not stressed out about it. Is that
Yeah.
fair to say? Yes, because the children get to pick up that frequency from the parents. So,
Good stories too is about where Thomas was before the principals,
mm-hmm.
and how he shifted out of that because he had some anxiety. If you don't mind talking about it.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. So there's a shooting at my elementary school.
Mm.
So after that, not directly after that, I was fine right after that, but then just a couple months, I think, after that, or a month or two, I got really anxious. Not about that happening again, but I got anxious about like big school assignments that were going to be pretty hard to get done, and that held on to me. So that happened in 3rd grade, and then I was pretty fine in 4th and 5th grade.
Unless if there was a call for like a lockdown. Sometimes they have lockdowns here. That would be hard.
Yeah, but then I kind of struggled at times in 4th and 5th grade actually, and in 6th grade was pretty bad because I just was worried about school assignments. And I would just not sleep at night, just worrying about these assignments. They weren't all that bad at all. And then for a week, I just stayed home because of anxiety, and we found the 3 principals. My dad went to what's it called?
A psychologist.
Yeah, a psychologist who just did the 3 principles, and he shared it with us, and then we looked at 3 principles movies, we kind of got hooked on it, and then it didn't really get better directly after that. Like I was still I kind of understood it, but then as time passed, I understood it a ton. And it got a lot better. In 7th grade, I homeschooled for a year. And then in 8th grade, I went back to school, and I was pretty anxious about being anxious in 8th grade. And then now I'm in 8th grade, and I'm completely fine. And yeah, I really don't stress at all about any assignments or anything, really.
And that is so interesting what you just said there, Thomas, because you said you were anxious about being anxious. And I found that very interesting. And also one thing that you said prior to that, you got hooked up in the 3 Principles. You watched the 3 Principles movies. You didn't see much of a difference straight away, but as time went on, then you started seeing more differences.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say? And that is almost, I was speaking with I was getting a coaching session today, and we were talking about that once you start looking to this direction, you just start evolving, you start seeing more and more of it, even if you don't do much afterwards. It's almost like you planted the seeds, and then it kind of starts working in the ground, and that's it. Once you've got it, you've got it. And sometimes you see more, sometimes you see less, but you start seeing a result. Some people in a day, some in a week, some in a month, some a few years down the line, but it's always working. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, that's a great way of describing it. I see it as that too. The evolving of it is pretty amazing.
It is.
And what's nice too with Thomas is he'll remind me as well, because sometimes he knows more than me in that moment. And sometimes I'll remind him, and sometimes he'll tell me to be quiet. He doesn't want to hear a 3 Principles lecture. And sometimes he'll come back and he'll tell me that same lecture. You know, we keep evolving. And one other thing I'd love to say is that I've also learned is that they're not that fragile. That's what's so beautiful for me now. So let's say I do have a moment where I yell at him. He knows that it's my thing, and he doesn't have to take it personally. I used to think that they're so fragile, we have to protect them. And they have their own wisdom inside of them, and I really see it so clearly now. And it's so freeing because I don't have to watch every little thing I do, you know, because I'm just a human being evolving as well. And they'll tell me, my kids will tell me, you know, Mom, really? You know, you should know this. And I get to settle down and then see it again. And another thing, if you have any more time, is I love the way Thomas plays baseball right now, because he's at a pretty competitive level in baseball. I feel that I see a huge change in the way he treats himself around the game, the way he gets out of situations in the game. And it makes it so much more fun to watch, and I think to play. If you have a moment, he might have something to say about that.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Are you having more fun playing the game, or what do you see differently?
I used to, when I was at bat, I used to get anxious or nervous.
You might want to explain it back, because do you guys play baseball in England?
Not me personally. I think some people do, so you may want to explain it to us, please.
Well, it's based on cricket.
Right, okay. I can relate to that.
So there's a home plate, a first base, a second base, and a third base, and it's a diamond. So you go to first, to second, and to third, and then back to home.
Right.
And then hit right here. This is where you, like at home, that's where you're swinging the bat like that.
Okay.
And the pitcher tries to throw the ball, and he tries to get you to swing and miss basically 3 times. If you swing and miss 3 times, then you're out.
Right.
And,
tell her the percentage that's good of hitting.
So in professional baseball, a 300 average is very good. So that's basically hitting you get a hit 3 times out of 10.
Ah, okay.
So there's also fielders on the diamond. So it's kind of hard to explain, like if you hit it in the air, like if the ball goes in the air without touching the ground and they catch it, then you're out.
Right.
And then if you don't get to first base, if you hit it on the ground and they throw it back and they throw it to first before you get to first, and the first baseman steps on the base and catches the ball before you get to first, then you're also up.
Right.
In professional baseball, yeah, a good hitting average is 300, and so that's 3 out of 10. And so it's a failing sport. You fail most of the time.
Wow.
And so I would always get nervous when I was at bat, and I feel like that would decrease my chances of getting on base or hitting the ball. And now it's much better where I'm very relaxed when I'm hitting, and I think the outcome is a lot better.
Wow. That is beautiful. So you're more relaxed, more detached, and the outcome is better.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does it get any better than that? Wendy, this is lovely. There is anything else that you would like to add to today's show? We still have a few minutes, so if you want to.
I think what else I remember the last weekend we went to a game of Thomas's, and he didn't play very well, and he didn't care. Like my husband just said, "Yeah, you didn't play very well," and Thomas, you just kind of laughed. Where a year or two ago, I'd have been so careful. Oh my gosh, don't upset the child. Don't remind him he didn't play well. And now it's just like, whatever. We don't really have so much attachment to whether you played well or you didn't play well, because it's human regardless. Because no human being is going to play well. As Thomas told you, you get
a 300 average, isn't it?
Right, a 300 average. And the other thing he might want to share is he's also a pitcher, and the pitcher is supposed to get out the batter. And after reading Garrett Kramer's book, Still Power, he had this insight on the plate. You want to tell them about that? On the mound, I'm sorry. I don't know baseball either. But when you're a pitcher in baseball, there's a lot of pressure on you. In fact, in the major leagues, those aren't pitchers, but in the major leagues, there are people that have even had nervous breakdowns because this game could be potentially so stressful. So when you're the pitcher, you're leading the whole entire team. And they protect you if the ball gets hit, but a lot is up to you. So Thomas is a pitcher as well, and after reading the Garrett Kramer's book, I'd love for you to tell that story. Want to tell that one? Do you remember?
Yeah, so in the Garrett Kramer book, it says still power instead of willpower, meaning that instead of trying to do this and trying to do that, you just let it kind of do what it wants to do. And so I was pitching one time, and my coach said, "Come on, you got to focus." And then that's when I realized that I needed to do the complete opposite and just to relax.
Oh.
And I ended up doing very well that game when I was pitching. And so, yeah, that's basically it.
Oh. Thank you so much for that, Thomas and Wendy. That is beautiful. Anything else you would like to add?
I don't have anything to you.
It's like I've learned so many things today. Well, mostly about baseball because I didn't have any understanding of baseball. So now I know what is a 300 average, and I know it's diamond shaped. I like diamonds, so so we're good to go. My two lessons for today. But more important than that is just to see how your family dynamics has changed and how you are all in this together. It's a family affair, if you will, isn't it? Because you, Wendy, your life has shifted, has transformed, and you also your Thomas and your dad. So everyone is evolving within the family, and you get to enjoy more of the game. And we don't know what the future will bring or what the future holds, but reality is that at least you're getting a lot more enjoyment of your life and living. Is that fair to say?
Oh, so fair to say.
Yeah.
I do have one more thing.
Yes.
What's so nice is that if you have a teenager, when I was driving in the car, it was so nice to really look at him and see that he was just caught up in thought. So I was, no matter what he said to me, even if it was a tad disrespectful in the moment, I just saw him as this little, it's just like innocently, he so badly wanted to feel better. Mm-hmm. So he was sort of lashing out at me, I feel. But I really see that as innocent now. So I didn't have to say anything to him. I didn't have to say, don't say that. I just was pretty silent. So I didn't add any fuel to the fire. And then he himself was able to see whatever he saw and how that was thought. Mm-hmm. But as a parent, it's so useful to see your kid innocently trying to find a way out of this bad feeling place, mm-hmm. thinking that it's outside in. And the same with my husband now. I brought up something the other day and he didn't really like the thing I brought up. And now I see him as innocently making comments or whatever to get out of his bad feeling about what I brought up. And so I don't have to add fuel to the fire. I don't have to change them because it's my own thinking that's disturbing me. And there's so much freedom in that because then the people around you can have the space to work out their own thinking because you know their thinking has nothing to do with you. Mm. Every single day that evolves for me. You know, sometimes I get caught and I want to change one of my kids or my husband, and then I realize that has nothing to do with me. And so the peace around the house, even if somebody's in a grumpy mood, the peace is, there's much more peace.
Mm. That's so beautiful. One of the things that came to mind when you were sharing that is that if someone has got a teenager, not you, Thomas, someone else, and and the parent is observing their behavior, they may label that as being disrespectful, and that is scaling things up because the parent gets caught up in thinking. The teenager have their own thinking going on. There is a lot of stuff going in their life, and it spirals down. But when you know what you know, it creates the space. And then gets the mind to quiet down, and wisdom always emerges. So that is what I saw in what you just told us.
And it's been evolving because Thomas and I can even go back to 2 or 3 times before that one incident where he was not wanting to do that event. And we weren't quite as good. I kind of got caught up into him thinking he was baiting me, and then I'm like, trying. But even that day, we both apologized to each other and it was over. But each time some situation like this, there's room, you keep growing. That's what is beautiful about the 3 principles is sometimes you don't see whatever it is you're involved in as thought. You think it's not thought. You think it's really the circumstance. And there's always, you keep on seeing more and more that it's thought.
So it's definitely inevitable evolution. Now, I feel that we are coming towards the end of this episode for today. Now, Thomas, what would you like to tell to the teenagers out there that don't know about the principles?
Just that when you're feeling bad, you just gotta let it be, and that's it.
Thank you. And how about you, Wendi? What do you have to say to the parents out there that don't know about the principles yet, or are just in the early stages? They're just starting their journey.
If there's anything that is useful to do, I would say, as one of my clients says all the time, it's a kind of bad word, so I'm not going to say the bad word, but
It's not swearing. We can't swear on the show.
no, I'm not going to swear, but
Okay.
shut the blank up. So if you're feeling like your teenager is yelling at you and he's baiting you, just shut up for a minute, because when you shut up, even though, like when Thomas didn't have the cleats and we're an hour away in traffic, in that moment, I really would have liked to tell him, how could you do that? Why didn't you get your cleats? Blah, 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 blah. Because I innocently in that moment thought that was causing my feeling. So I still really habitually wanted to scream at him, but I just was quiet until, and in that moment, it felt like that bad feeling was never going to move. It felt like it was him, but I just stayed quiet and I didn't say anything to him. And it was interesting to just see it melted, that bad feeling melted. And then I didn't need to say anything. Because bottom line is we're all innocently trying to find a way out of these bad feelings. So when your kid is disrespectful, it's not that you need to let him walk all over you. I don't believe that. But sometimes you can be quiet, and then if you don't respond out of your upset, you'll be much more effective if you just let that upset go.
That's a really good point. Or even if you feel you have to say something afterwards, I guess you have a lot more leverage, because the place where you're coming from is a place of wisdom rather than being caught up in the moment.
That's exactly what
Oh, guys, thank you very much for the two of you for being with Womanhood from the Inside Out today. And Wendi, how can people reach you?
Oh, my website is wakeupyourwisdom.com, or you can email me at Wendi, Wendi, at wakeupyourwisdom.com.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And for me, if people would like to reach me, you can go directly to Facebook. So that would be facebook.com/Clésia.Mendes, and I'll spell that. That will be facebook.com/CLESIA.MENDES. Or you can go directly to my website. So that would be www.clesiamensch.com. Wendi and Thomas, thanks again, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.